And in remembering a road sign, I am remembering a girl when I was young. And we said these songs are true, these days are ours, these tears are free. And hey, the cross is...
Well, we're doing one of our special remote episodes of Art Matters, and I'm Wayne Quackenbush, the host. We're at the Newport Art Museum Coleman Center today, and we're interviewing artists that are connected with the Arts Advisory of the East Bay Met School. And that's a very unique class where the students get to follow their passions and create their artwork and set up their own program. And we're doing this to help promote Young Artist Month, which is always March of the year, but more specifically to promote the Emerging Artist Show that happens at the end of February every year at the Portsmouth Arts Guild, where I am the CEO. And we like to promote local art and young art. And so we'll go on with the show. And we're here with Carol Willey, who is the arts advisor for the Arts Advisory, and Ayeel Collette, the first artist we'll be talking to today. We were talking briefly about how you're kind of a recent arrival to Rhode Island, and that you spent the early part of your life in California. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about your progress. You said you grew up drawing.
Yeah, so I started with like just colored pencils and markers and stuff, just like doing doodles and stuff as a kid. And I was surrounded by artists. My parents were friends with painters, and my great-grandmother was friends with painters, and specifically this one painter named Abby, and she used to paint my family. So I would just like see these massive paintings of my family in my great-grandmother's house, and that was really inspiring. And I didn't realize until later in my life that that was definitely a big contributor of me, cultivating this passion. So yeah, freshman year I started painting with watercolor, and then that's still one of my favorite mediums, but I've grown to develop.
So you have some acrylic here.
Yeah.
And you also said that when you were very young, you would visualize things and try to render them, and you were never happy with how that went.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you're making progress in that area now?
Yes, absolutely. I think I used to kind of just throw everything out at once, and now I'm a lot more methodical about it. I like measure things and like sketch it out before. I think that's definitely its own skill, is being able to transfer something and like onto a canvas and still like make out the image the way that you wanted it to.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Pulling it up. So do you want to show off this painting and
Okay. So I painted this in an acrylics class, and the goal was to paint inside of a grid, and I didn't really like that idea. So I kind of
find it restricting?
Yeah, I found it very restricting. And I don't really like following, I guess, like rules with art, I guess. I don't know, it just makes me frustrated.
Well, the beauty of art is that you can break the rules, just because I see that you have kind of a grid thing happening here, but you've broken up the figure in unique ways.
Yeah, so I decided to, instead of doing like a traditional square grid, I ended up doing a grid-like thing where I just I shifted the body so that it looked kind of staggered. And the thing I like about this is whenever I'm in a different mood, I have this hanging on my wall, and I like to kind of make it like the opposite of what I'm feeling. So if I'm feeling really good, I'll hang it upside down to remind me that like it's really good and things aren't chaotic, because as you can see when it's upside down, it sort of symbolizes like being in an uncontrollable circumstance for me. And then when I'm not feeling my best, I turn it right side up because it looks like someone dancing.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Very cool. And the other piece that you have back here?
So this one I painted in my sophomore year, and it's a representation of our environmental crisis, seen through tarot cards. And so it's past, present, and future. And this is the magician, and it kind of represents like ignorance is bliss sort of thing. Like a lot is like really good, and you don't really know the underlying like sort of negative effects of
the future dangers.
Yes. And then this is the tower, which just represents crisis. And this is the fool, and he's hanging upside down. Just sort of like, no, not the fool, the hanged man, sorry.
Right.
And it just kind of represents missed opportunity and like knowledge of what you could have done. That's why there's a halo around him.
It seems like you could almost make this into a series and do a triptych for each pathway that we could go to as a race.
That's a really good idea.
And you could, I know a lot of people who make their own tarot cards. That might be a consideration too.
Yeah, I've wanted to actually like try to make a deck someday, but I haven't gotten around to it.
Well,
It's a big one.
You have time. You have time. Kara, did you have anything you wanted to add, or?
I mean, Ayeel has also gone pretty big. So Ayeel is responsible for a mural in town.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Is it on Man Ave?
Yeah, it's on Man Avenue, right off Broadway.
Yep, it's on the facade of Lily and Lion Salon.
Okay.
So, and you can see, I think that if you're able to look that up, Newport Public Art, if you go on their website, they have it shown.
I've seen
And
them. I followed their Instagram.
Great, yeah. So I don't know if you saw. I guess it was 2 months ago, about 2 maybe 3 months ago, when it wrapped up, before it got really cold. The mural
Did you paint it by yourself?
No, so me and another artist named Jai, we were both hired to be the main collaborators on this project, and Newport Public Art was kind of just the
Facilitator.
Yeah. So we had a client, Lily and Lion Salon, and she put out some components of what she wanted, and they kind of put me in charge of compiling everything together. But my painting partner and I really like put a lot of our own style into it. And it ended up being really nice because I think it was just like a perfect match, because we just worked really well together and were able to like fit the components that we wanted in a really nice way. And so yeah. It's
awesome when a collaboration works.
Right.
Well, I want to thank you for taking the time to share your work.
Yeah.
And I hope to see more of it in the future.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lee.
Thank you.
Right.
It wasn't so hard.
No.
All right.
You're going to give me a countdown?
It's already recording, so.
What?
Yeah.
Don't run out of information. All right, I'll just start then. So we're here with Kara again and the new artist Az. And we were talking briefly a few minutes ago about how you've made a progression. You started out as a musician, and tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, so I went through like a really rough patch in my life, and then I couldn't find any coping skills, and the biggest coping skill that I found was painting and drawing. So maybe I thought, well, maybe like if I do this, it might like help relieve some anxiety or stress, and it actually ended up really working out. So yeah, now I fill these whole big pages of
So
stuff.
you have a sense of what you're doing? Are you trying to create a mood, or are you just kind of of following your gut, or what? How do you feel about what you do?
I just kind of go.
Hmm.
That's how I do it. I just pick. Sometimes I don't even pick like a color scheme. I just kind of do like shuffle, like throw my markers around, and then just pick and go. So yeah.
And we were talking briefly about how you are able to get into kind of a meditative state, and you listen to music.
Yeah. What I like to do, and I do all the time in class, is just like pop in headphones and just zone out everything and just let my pen go.
Do you want to show the camera some of what you're talking about and what you do?
So this is one of my favorites. I like the color scheme. I like how it all like blends in and stuff. And then
And you said you started out mostly in black and white. It looks like you're kind of graduating into color almost.
yeah, I want to try. I started off with watercolor. Because a lot of my advisory mates were telling me like watercolor is like really fun.
Watercolor can actually help you get some happy accidents, so that you can get stuff that can almost blow your mind. So show Michael that piece. And you also said you progressed from violin to trumpet, and then to drums.
And then to drums, yeah.
And in all of that, I mean, music is, to me, is almost pure emotion, and it seems like what you're doing here is kind of approaching visual arts the way you would approach music.
Yeah. Yeah, I would have to agree on that, because I can now, like, depending on like the music that I listen to or put on at the time, is how like.
And kind of, you can direct your hand almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What type of music are you normally, or like, is there a genre, or do you like skip all over the place?
My music variety goes from like classical to like heavy metal, so.
Absolutely, as it should be.
Yeah, so I listen to everything. There's no specific.
Yeah.
Okay. You can show us a couple more.
Yeah. This is one of the first ones that I did.
I think that this style kind of came early this year, right? You started to like draw these like organic shapes and like all like a lot of circles and patterns, and
Yeah.
I noticed a big shift this year, and it's pretty cool to see you fill a whole page.
So how would you feel if somebody gave you like a 6 by 6 foot canvas? You think you could do something with that? Yeah, because I think you'd really shine doing something that big,
Yeah.
and it would be. You could almost bring dance into it, the way you draw.
Yeah, that on that scale.
Do you have
That might
anything
be a
you want
good
to
next
add,
step.
Kara? To what?
I mean, I was just gonna say, I think that's a good. I mean, have you thought about going even bigger than this?
Well, I was talking to my mom, and she said we should take 4 big pieces and put them all together like a mural.
That'll work.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a cool
Yeah,
idea.
so I'm planning on doing that sometime soon.
But what I was suggesting is if you do something where you have to move your whole body, you might have a different experience altogether.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, just want to thank you, Az, for talking to us. I know it was great having you.
Yeah. Thanks, Az.
Thank you.
Yeah. That's a really great idea. I like that idea that your mom has too. You should work on that. You should do it over break. Got the canvases? Do we need to get you canvases?
And don't forget to put something aside for the show in Portsmouth.
Yeah. You can enter a piece in the show.
All right, that's good.
Thanks.
Ready? All right, we're back with Kara and Lailah, our next artist. Lailah is primarily a digital photographer. And do you want to talk a little bit about how you got into photography and art in general?
Yeah, so I grew up with really non-creative parents. They're both my mom was a teacher and a social worker, and my dad is a financial advisor.
Oh, sounds kind of creative in a way.
But no like artistic ability
I got you.
whatsoever. But my sister was really into the arts, and she's really into fashion design and dancing, and as she grew older, she started to get into painting, and I kind of followed along
as a little sister. And then in 2011, my family was living in Egypt during the Arab Spring.
Wow.
And my mom is she collected a lot of newspapers and stuff, and there was always news on. So I saw a lot of photos and a lot of journalistic things. And that kind of got me really interested in photography and photojournalism, and the idea of showing people things that they wouldn't see themselves. So as I grew older, that kind of was like a thing in the back of my head. But I really got into photography in 3rd grade. I had a little iPhone 5C thing, and I took a picture of a flower, and I thought it was good, so I decided that I discovered a new talent. So I saved up all my money, and I bought like a 12 megapixel Fujifilm camera off eBay.
Was that a big deal back then?
No, it was a bad camera. It wasn't. It's not. It wasn't.
I mean, saving a bunch of money
for
at that
me,
age is
yeah.
kind of a big deal. I
For
think.
me, it was a big deal,
Yeah, when
but
you
it
were
wasn't.
5,
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
saving up for sea monkeys back then.
Yeah, so I guess in retrospect, it was a big deal saving up all that money. But yeah. So then I kind of just worked through it and used my photography as an outlet for a lot of things, and then I decided that I really wanted to pursue it. So I again did the whole money saving thing, and then bought a DSLR that I've been using ever since. And now I focus mainly on portraiture. Yeah.
And when you're doing portraits, are you trying to bring the person's story out when you photograph them, or are you trying to create your mood, or are you collaborating? Which way do you see it?
I kind of like to make my photography very fictional in a sense, and I like really euphoric, artificial, oversaturated images that don't necessarily look real.
Okay.
I've had a lot of people tell me that my photographs look like they're like little stills from a dream, which I like.
Or an imaginary movie, maybe.
Yeah. So it's kind of just me.
We're going to be inserting some of your artwork. Do you
Yeah.
want to talk about specific pieces, even though, and we'll show them when we put the show up?
Yeah. So there's one piece that is a girl, my sister, floating in a pool. Yeah. I don't really know how to talk about it.
Well, from what we can see, it's very moody, and you use the word dream. It's very dreamlike. Water is a very prominent motif in a lot of people's dreams, and it usually has some kind of significant meaning. And you could also see it as a still from an imaginary movie that, it's very evocative.
I mean, and besides that, it's like weightlessness. I mean, it just looks like weightlessness.
Yeah.
Even if that wasn't water behind.
I'd be
the
very
person.
curious as to how you did that. It seems like you must have done some sort of Photoshop or no.
No.
Wow. So that's like in the camera
we had
live.
actually, yeah, it was weird. We had actually been shooting a lot of frames beforehand, and it was mid-July. It was about like 87 degrees out, and she was like, and we have a pool in our backyard, and she got very tired, and she was like, "That's it. I don't care if I ruin this dress. I'm getting in the pool." And it wasn't even for the pictures, but I ended up taking that picture, and I'm very happy with how it came out.
So have you done anything with film? Do you have any curiosity about it?
No, I haven't done anything with film, but I do definitely want to venture into it because I, again, really enjoy how nostalgic film feels.
There's also a magic to it because you're basically creating something out of nothing.
For sure. But it's really just a cost thing.
Yeah.
Because film is really expensive.
Facilities
And I don't
too.
really have that ability to do that right now, but it's definitely something I'd like to do.
So, do you have any post-med plans then?
Yeah, I'm hoping to get a degree in multimedia journalism. I want to pursue photojournalism. I interned with Steve Alquist of Uprise, Rhode Island.
Oh, I'm well aware of Steve's work. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's pretty amazing.
He is. He's great. Yeah, photojournalism's my route.
Cool. So do you get to go into any of those rallies where he gets accosted and stuff? Well,
Safety first.
Steve is a very
Yeah, well,
prominent figure in
we
Rhode
had-
Island.
yeah. We had a conversation about safety.
Good.
As well you should.
Yeah, he was very much like, if anything ever gets weird, you get out. That's your first priority, which I
Exactly.
appreciate.
Yeah, always be safe.
Yeah. But yeah, I do go to rallies with him.
Oh, that's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Kara, anything you want to add?
I mean, travel is such a big part of your life, I feel like.
Yeah.
And that, to me, is always important for artists to be able to see and do other things than the
Absolutely.
ordinary, right? So I think that that comes through in your photography as
It'll
well.
help you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
As
for
you
sure.
move in the world, it'll help your photojournalism
And
because
that too,
you'll be at ease in different situations. I would think. Well, I wanted to thank you for coming and talking to us.
Thank you.
And looking forward to seeing more of you. Our next artist, Krishan, you're relatively new to the med school, and you're a junior in the arts advisory. And tell me how you got involved with making artwork.
So I got into art around this summer, and I just had some personal experiences, and I found art as a way to express myself. And yeah, I feel like I just had a lot of energy in me, and like once I found a way to let it out, I just kind of went at it.
Now, do you feel that you have the same, what's a good word for it, release when you work small, or do you prefer working big, or do you like switching it off?
I feel like it's kind of the same for both, just like maybe different styles. I feel like larger, I'll definitely start large and there'll be a lot more space, and then at the end I'll kind of go in with like a Sharpie and do the finer details and like kind of just slow down the energy a bit.
Now they make Sharpies archival now. Like back in the day, they would change color on you. So, do you want your works to be permanent?
I don't really mind if like, I don't know, what happens to it happens to it, you know?
Now, so if you do a small work, do you try to then render something similar to it larger, or is it a completely different process?
No, yeah, I'll just do something different.
Do you want to show us some of your work? I mean, show the camera some of your work
Yeah,
and talk
so,
about what you're doing?
Krishan has probably like the most amount of work that I've seen from a student in this amount of time. Like, I think that you're pretty prolific when it comes to creating artwork.
That seems like the first word that comes to mind is a brutalist. Like you're attacking the paper there.
Yes, definitely.
And do you feel like you're being aggressive, or?
I don't know. It's just like how I let my energy out onto the paper, I guess.
Okay.
I don't like hate the paper or anything.
No, I got you, but you definitely have something to say. In fact, it looks like, when I look at it quickly, I mean, I see words already, so it's almost like you're basically layering graffiti and making kind of a cloud. So show us some more. We have a few minutes.
Yeah. I mean, I just have like a bunch of.
Straight up and down. Yeah, there you go.
So he can get it still.
Got it. I think that, so Krishan interns with an artist, Jean, and their styles, it's pretty cool because his mentor also works really large scale, and I think you're able to like explore, you've been able to explore, like, because you started with this, and then like once you interned with Jean, it was like, she was like, all right, now like
I
what
feel like my
would this
paintings
look
are
like?
definitely a lot like, I don't know, different. I mean, not different, but like.
Well, it has a different. we were talking earlier about how it has a different physicality when you're working larger.
Yeah.
And when Kara and I were talking off camera, you get a different bounce if you're working on a stretch canvas as opposed to something that's against a wall. Some people prefer a surface that doesn't give it all because you can maintain a different kind of control. So show us a couple more if you can.
Yeah. I'll show you some from this book because I feel like they're a little.
Absolutely.
So let's see. It's just like an architectural thing. That's not like anything too.
It's funny because there's an architectural style called brutalism, and you have a nice rendering of that. It's
This is like one of the different style I'm kind of trying.
Yeah,
oh,
cool. I
I
haven't
see.
seen
There's
that
a
before.
figure in that one.
And this one this is one that I'm like recreating onto a larger painting. It's not just gonna be the painting, but like it's a little small part of
So
it.
are there words in that one?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
just kaboom over and
Oh,
over
I
again.
got you. All right. All right.
Let's see.
You know, because I come from a comic book background, and words can be an integral part of the frame that you're working in, especially for sound effects and things like that.
And I think text is kind of a big piece in most of your artwork.
Yeah, definitely. I really enjoy
Which is difficult.
writing.
It's difficult, I think, to put text into
Well,
pieces
I
of.
guess the next big thing this year is fabric, so you could make quilts that look like that.
Well,
I've actually been working on
this is
clothing. It's like
Well, there
my
you go.
project.
Just-
Yeah, I have a
Yeah.
friend who actually makes a living taking thrift store clothing, and she calls it upcycling. She does paintings and prints, and she actually takes her paintings and stitches them onto the clothes and sells them like that. And she actually has a store up in New Hampshire.
great. That's
Awesome.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. This next phase has been apparel design, but are you just painting on clothing, or are you?
So I've been doing some like putting clothes together and cutting them and stuff, but I haven't really gotten too much into sewing and all that. I like to stick mostly to just painting and maybe screen printing is something I'd like to get
Screen
into.
printing, absolutely.
And maybe like painting over the screen printing.
But a needle and thread by hand, everybody should know how to do that.
Definitely.
Well, Krishan, thank you very much for sharing your artwork with you.
Yeah.
Hope to see you in the Portsmouth show, and keep it up.
Yeah, Krishan was in the Du Bois Gallery show this past
Oh, yeah.
weekend,
Mhm.
and won a merit award
Oh, nice.
for it. So
Congratulations.
yeah, thanks, Krishan.
Okay, let's see if we can get Mia then.
Yeah, you're gonna have to do that.
I'll try.
Thank you very much.
Okay, well, we're here with our final artist of the afternoon, Mia Stevenson. I've known Mia for a couple years. She's one of the few brave souls to actually visit my shop on Broadway. She always acted in shock and awe when she was in there. So I get to promote my place because I'm
Yeah, that's cool.
on the cable show. I'm not allowed to talk about it because it's a
Nice.
nonprofit and
Oh, I see,
theoretically
I
for
see.
profit.
Okay.
So Mia, I had no idea you were an artist, let alone part of the Met School. So you made a move from Rogers High School in Newport to the East Bay Met School. You want to talk a little bit about the difference in experience you're having?
So at Rogers, like I said, I didn't really get to do any art classes at all, and that's kind of, I've known for a long time, like that's what I want to do with my life.
Is
And
the
so-
art an elective there, or?
Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah,
So
and
that's
since
kind
I-
of limited.
Yeah, since I did orchestra, I couldn't do anything else. And
What instrument did you play?
I played the double bass.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I guess you weren't in the marching band then.
No, but yeah,
I can
freshman
see
year.
it though. You just put a wheel on the bottom.
That's actually, I do have those.
I know.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
No, I almost went here freshman year, but I ended up chickening out, and I'm glad I did because I wouldn't have the same.
You get a different
experiences.
academic base, and the best thing about the Met that I've experienced is that if you have a vision, they'll let you pursue it, but if you don't, you'll just be able to kind of squeak by. But I'm sure you're, so you have, you've always been an artist, but do you have plans to pursue now?
Yes, I want to go into printmaking.
Okay, because I saw you working on some linoleum cuts that look pretty awesome, but you didn't want to show those today.
Sorry.
It's okay. Some people are perfectionists about their work.
I'm not a perfectionist.
You just, okay. Well, you have a
Not.
T-shirt to show us.
Yes.
And is that from print?
Yes.
And do you want to hold it up so Michael can see it?
Sorry, it's like lopsided.
That's okay.
Oh my lord.
There's also a digital version of this.
Yes, but I don't.
And is that from an ink drawing, or is that, did you do a lithograph, or how did you render that onto the fabric?
I mostly do screen printing with my internship.
Nice.
I work with the muralist screen printer, and
So is that here on the island, or?
no, it's in Providence.
Oh, okay,
Sam
nice.
White. Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to promote them at all?
Pretty awesome
Yeah,
artist.
Sam White, you're the best.
Does a lot
Yeah,
of murals
he's
that
the
you'll
best.
probably see in Providence,
That's
like
true.
the Dean Building octopus. and-
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So,
Very cool.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and so he taught me everything I know about screen printing, and I absolutely love it.
Mm.
It's like my favorite thing in the world to do. So
So are you're preferring, you're pursuing printmaking? Are you going to do that as fashion design, or do you want to do it as an art form, or?
I like doing it on clothing, and it sells well.
Absolutely.
Which I know is a big thing. But yeah, no, I just like to have like a print studio, I guess, just like a print shop, and be able to sell people my stuff.
Yeah. So if you were to submit that to the Portsmouth Arts Guild, we would hang the shirt. There's there's no limitation on what we would take in to show, so.
This actually was part of an application that Mia did for RISD, and that's why I mentioned that there was a digital rendering of this as well, that
That you could print out.
transformed onto a shirt. So it's been really cool to see the different mediums that like have been coming out of me since
It's
I
nice
mean,
to have the
just
facilities to explore that too.
Yeah, I also do like prints on ceramics
Mhm.
and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. And is there something on the back that I see that there, or?
Oh no, I just
Oh, okay.
started doing little.
No, I thought
Oh,
you had a
nice.
print on the, yeah, okay.
cool. Does mine have that on there? I
Yes.
bought one of these because, I mean, I actually I try to buy every one because I think that you have, I mean, just the images that you decide to put onto t-shirts, like people think that's really easy to do. You just like draw something and like, oh, put it on a t-shirt. But I don't know, there's a communication factor with your artwork that just transcribes on
We should talk
clothing.
about having a t-shirt contest, because I used to do that years
Oh,
ago. And
cool.
I used to have people made annex shirts,
Yeah.
and we had the ones that won printed and
Mhm.
sold. So I always gave an artist commission on that too. Except we were using cheesy Vistaprint t-shirts.
We should definitely
Oh, those are the
keep
best.
that, right? Yeah. Stick with
Yes,
that.
yeah, I'd like to, keep people more, the arts advisory involved with what I'm doing on every level too.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, thank you so much for taking the time and
Yes, thank you.
talking to
Sorry
us.
for my hesitance.
Thank you, Kara.
Yeah, no, thank you.
So I guess that wraps it up for another episode of Art Matters. We'll see you in the next broadcast, not podcast, not anything else but broadcast. And you'll see this one up on YouTube. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mia.